This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, wonderful. This is Sarah. And do you hate having your picture made? And my guest, Julie Ulstrup, has heard so many women say they hate having their picture made, which is just so sad because we want your kids to see your beauty and we want the world to see your beauty. And especially if you're going into dating again after being in a long marriage or something, you're gonna have to have your picture made. Julie, why are you so passionate about this?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me so much. And I am super passionate about this. I've been a photographer my entire life. I've loved photography. It's been a hobby. And then about 5 years ago, I decided I'm going to go full in on this as a business. And I photograph lots of different things, families, and I still do. However, when I would photograph women or when I would talk to women at different events, business women, nonprofit women, I would hear so frequently, oh, I hate having my picture taken. I hate how I look in photographs. I'm not photogenic. And all of those things are lies. They're absolute lies. And what I believe is it's a way that we ourselves as women are holding ourselves back. And there's a lot of different things. We could talk for hours about all of the different things and ways that I help women feel comfortable and feel beautiful in front of the camera and powerful and brilliant and all of the things. But I realize there's a real need for us as women to really step into our brilliance and show up fully. Long answer.
Well, and I had a man on here talking about teens and young girls, right? And he said that since the pandemic, the suicide rate for young teens, especially females, he was much more concerned about females than males, had just skyrocketed. And a lot of it, he is linking to social media and linking to images and that kind of thing. And as you were speaking, one of my thoughts is, man, if I am leading my daughter by example to say, oh, I hate having my picture made. I feel so ugly. I feel fat. I feel stupid. I feel this. And then she's bombarded with Instagram photos. She's a little young for it now, but she will be at some point very soon. And then she's bombarded with professional photos or models. How much worse is that? So what I hear you, I think it's important for ourselves, but I also think it's important to break that cycle for the next generation.
100%. Yes. For ourselves, for our daughters, our sisters, even I feel like, older generations, sometimes there's this idea of when I look like this, it will be okay. I hear that 100 times a day too. And really being in that place of comfort of where you are right now, whether it's whatever size you are, whatever your hair looks like. Embrace it because you're beautiful right now and you're brilliant and you have so much to offer and so much to share.
So when women have kind of made the flip from, oh my gosh, I hate having my picture made to, okay, I can do this. What are some things that happen between point A and Z?
Absolutely. Well, I have a system that I use and I've developed this throughout the years. I call it either the brilliant branding, beauty, or boudoir, because I photograph women in all those different genres. And sometimes it's in one photo shoot. So we start with a consultation. And what that consultation is it's a phone call. And we talk about, who are you? How do you want to be seen? What if let's say it's a brand, let's say it's a woman who's in business, what are the qualities about you that attract your ideal clients? Instead of pushing, let's attract what we want. So we talk about those internal qualities that really make you different. I remember like back in the 70s, there was this like, what makes you special is what makes you different. And that's true. So we celebrate those inner qualities. And then I go through all of the different things about clothes and makeup and things that help women feel comfortable in front of a camera. And then because I've been photographing people for so long, I know posing and lighting and what to do in the studio and what to do outside. So when they see their photographs, Sarah, it is often a transformation. I have had women cry when they see their photographs because they remember that brilliance inside of them. They remember what they're here to do on earth a lot of times. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but it's true. It happens.
And I have heard I think I read an article one time, and it was a daughter, and she said, my mother was always the one who took the pictures. And then
Yes.
her mother died, and she said, I don't have any pictures of my mother.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, I don't want to be that mother. I don't want to, if who knows, hopefully I'll be around for a long time, or this could be my last day
Yes.
on earth. None of us know. And to have not given my children the gift of being able to remember me and remember me at these events, right?
Yes.
Oh, there's a birthday
Yes.
party. Where was mom? I don't know. Well, behind the camera.
Yes. Yes. And that's something that is also super important. It's really important to be in the picture, stay in the picture, be part of the celebration and the photographs, and have professional images made, and hop in there, when your daughter's having her birthday party, or your son's at a baseball game, or your daughter's just gotten an award at school. Get a picture with them at that time, because they want to remember, oh yeah, of course mom was there, and of course she was in the picture.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, what are some, I know the selfie right now. I agree completely that people should do professional photos. I obviously have professional photos. I'm a huge advocate. It is so nice when people say, hey, I need a headshot. I'm like, okay, here's 3 or 4 to choose from. And it's just not a big deal. It's not,
Absolutely.
which one am I going to send? Oh no,
you don't have to stress.
No, yes, no stress. Just like kind of the idea of a uniform. If you have kind of a professional uniform, I tell people to do that if they're dating, doing a lot of first dates, like have 3 or 4 outfits already set aside that you already like. Just pull them from the shelf so you're not freaking out. What do I wear? What do I wear? So I agree completely on those professional photos. Agree completely. Everybody hear me. It'll be less stress in your life, not more.
100%.
But even within the selfie, any tips? I know that's a silly question probably, but it's kind of this weird part of our world now.
Absolutely. And I have a lot of tips. Actually, I do have a download that I will share with your listeners, and it's got 9 of my top tips for looking and feeling your best, being your most brilliant self in any photographs. And if you'd like, I can share one of the tips right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. So one of the things now, when you're in a situation, maybe like, for example, a birthday party, or you can't always control all the things, but what you can control is you and how you feel and what you're doing. And so, a lot of us do these awkward things, or kind of, try to feel funny or whatever. But if you stand firmly on the ground, sit up nice and tall, and take a nice deep breath in, and inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Feel that life force energy fill you up. And if you need to do it a couple of times, do it a couple times. If someone's like, oh, let's take a picture now, you just take a nice deep breath, breathe it in, and exhale out any stress. So really connecting with your breath is one of the first things. And that's a good practice anyway, just to relax and to recenter. So yeah, that's my one, but I've got 8 more. I have 100 when you come to the studio, but I've got 9 tips in my guide. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you do boudoir shots as well. I will never forget, I had a friend, and she found a boudoir picture of her grandmother after her grandmother had died. Okay. But her grandmother was much younger, and it was so interesting. I mean, I do love that she, women who do it at any age, but in this memory particular, she goes, I remembered that my grandmother had been a woman. Yes. Right? Not just a grandmother. I remember my grandmother had been a woman. And I thought, I don't know what kind of photos I want my kids to find, but I want them to have seen me as a woman, as a whole person, not just the school volunteer and the, breakfast packer or whatever. I want them to remember me as a woman. And that was such a powerful moment when my friend told me that about her grandmother.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think for ourselves to remember that as well. And the type of boudoir photographs that I do are very, very tasteful.
Mhm.
And I think going back to what you said too, doing this for ourselves, but also to show, I'm sure your friend was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is another part of my grandmother that I never
Exactly.
got to see. I had one woman, and I share about this in my TED talk, who, when she saw the actual prints of her photographs, she gasped. She was like, oh, and she said, I know that my husband has seen me like this before, but I've never seen myself this way. So a lot of times what happens when we create photographs is we have the intention or the idea that we're doing it for someone else, and it becomes a gift for ourselves too, which I just love. It's kind of part of the surprise and the beauty of that. So that's fun.
I love that. And do you have any tips for, I read in Madame Chic. There's a book called Madame Chic, and it's about a woman who is an American and she moves to France and lives in France for a year. And she's laughing, but it's funny because the French people find her underwear, and American underwear, it's like there's holes in it and this, and the French are like, what? You have so many clothes that are so tattered. Like, you have 10 times more clothes than we do, but they're all cheap and tattered and, this kind of thing. And because in France, the closets are smaller because they can't, they didn't have the land to build subdivisions and whatnot that like we are. They're in Paris specifically. So I should reference Paris specifically. The city of Paris, they're not making bigger closets. So
I need to read that book, by the way.
Oh, it's so good. And I didn't even learn to put makeup on until I was 30. Right. I was not historically, I was the kid in high school who was playing in the coffee shops and had wet hair showing up to school. And I was a cheerleader, but my cousin was always the pretty one. Right. She did pageants. She did, she was having professional pictures made. And I was always the piano player and the musician. Right. And I was fine with that. I didn't have a lot of issues with it. And then I got a divorce. And I had to go back into the dating world, and I had to go back into this world. And so I had a friend, and I said, well, I think you're really good at doing makeup. Will you teach me how to do my makeup and different than professional photos and those kind of things? This happened. And I was younger than many of our listeners, but I was in my 30s. It wasn't that's very vulnerable as a mother, to say, I don't know how to put on makeup, and I'm in my 30s, some of those types of things. And I read that book, and it said that as women, it's okay to enhance the world with our beauty.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome, Sarah. That's beautiful.
Well, it's a line that changed my life. And I was like, oh, okay. It gave me, it was like my own little permission note of, dear Sarah, it's okay to wear makeup. Dear Sarah, it's okay to get professional photos. Dear Sarah, it's okay to, those types of things. And Julie, I did my first beauty pageant at 37.
I love that.
So I did my first swimsuit competition at 30, my first and only. I say it like I'm going to do more. No, I'm not. But,
well, it
was, now I'm a speaker for the events, and I really like that. I get to dress up and do what I love to do, but it was, I say that story to our listeners to kind of, if anyone is listening and they're like, oh, I can't get out of my comfort zone, because I get that on the other end, it looks probably like I've always been this version of me. And it's like, yeah, I've got pageant photos. I've worn evening gowns. But no. I did not know how to put my makeup on when I was, after 30. It was, even after 30. And so I want, whatever age our listeners are.
Yes.
It's okay. Write that permission note to enhance the world with your beauty and get out there.
Oh, that is amazing. And one of the things that I've really been reading about too recently, some of the work that Gabby Bernstein does, is it's also a gift to the world when you enhance the world with your joy. And so your joy, my joy, your beauty, our beauty, when we can see that in the world, just makes the world a better place. Like, and that's what I'm all about. That's what it's about for me, really the transformation of seeing who you are and believing that. And when you forget, being able to see it on a wall or to see it on your screen or to have it, believing and knowing that you are beautiful, that you're joyful, that you're powerful, that you're brilliant, like nobody else on the planet ever was or ever will be or ever is.
That is great, Julie. Will you tell people where they can find more about you and your free gift?
Absolutely. Well, if we can put a link in the notes,
Sure.
I would love to just drop a link, and please feel free to grab that 9 tips on looking and feeling fabulous in every photograph. I'm also on most social media places. My website is julieulstrup.com. I'm Julie Ulstrup Photo on Instagram, Julie Ulstrup Photography on Facebook, Julie Ulstrup on LinkedIn. And I would love to connect with your listeners, Sarah, because you've got such a great thing going here. And I appreciate being on here. So thank you so much for having me and helping me share, how I help women show up in the world.
Well, thank you for helping us on our journey to becoming toxic person proof.